Well, hey guys, welcome back to the cabin. I'm still working on cleaning this side up. Still got a lot of brush that I'm going to have to stack up that I'm going to save for my hugelkultur mounds, and I probably still got some that I can actually cut up for some campfire wood outside. That's what I'm saving this for, because it's mainly pine. But I'm starting to be able to see the bottom now, and that's always a good feeling. Once I kind of get things picked up here, I'll bring the tractor down. I've got some stumps that I'll probably just push and let them roll off the hill down in there because of the big dirt mound on the bottom of them. But
you want the stick?
Did I go get it? Where's your toy? Where's your toy? Anyway, got a few logs, and I think what I'm going to do, I talked to my son, since I've got to move this stuff in a hurry. I hate to spend the money because I don't mind the work, but in order to get the job done as quick as possible, I may have to go get some forks for the front of the tractor. I really hate to do that. It does make it easier, but like I said, I don't mind the work because the straps only cost me about $30, where the forks are probably going to cost $500, $600, $700. I've got 2 stacks of poplar. There is a couple of cedar on the back side of this, but for the most part it is poplar, and this came from toward the top section, but I didn't want to throw them away. But at the time there wasn't really anything I could use those for because I needed something wider and larger, so I basically just saved them. But what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to have to move this pile, and I've got another pile over there that's got to be moved, plus the slab wood. I've also got some wood stacked up between a couple of trees here that I've actually had, well, probably going on 3 years now, from when I originally came up clearing the road with a chainsaw. But yeah, I've pretty much got most of the underbrush cut down, but there was some tree tops and stuff that fell. It has a lot of fine branches on them. One of them was actually a top out of the white pine there that twisted off in a storm and hit the ground, and I was actually sitting underneath where I parked the tractor, which is about 50 feet away, and it was storming, and I was up underneath that, and I heard a loud crash after this big bunch of wind came through. Turn around and look, and that top had broken out of the top of that tree and landed on the ground right here. So that's pretty much what I'm cutting up. I've also kind of run into a situation where I don't have anywhere to put these logs, so I think what I'm going to have to do is take them down the hill. I've got some areas down there. I don't want to take them down in the field because if it did, water did get up and did flood, not necessarily would it wash the logs away, but then they would be all wet. You know, they've actually been drying, so I guess, like I said, just take them down to the bottom of the hill here and stack them up somewhere where I can get to them fairly easy, so that when I start building I can just run down there with a tractor, grab 1 or 2 of them, come back up the hill with them. I was kind of thinking that some of these may make good, I'm thinking when well, what I was going to say is timber for my workshop. When I start building it, I was thinking that what I may do is do like a square log, like a button pass joint. So a lot of that would do well to, I don't know whether I'm going to cut them, 4 inches thick and maybe 6 inches tall, and you know, do my walls that way. That's probably what I'm going to end up doing. So some of those would make basically 2. Some of them would only make 1, but we'll just have to see. Or I could cut those up and use other, because I'm going to have plenty for 2x4s on the inside walls. So anyway, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, I've got quite a bit accomplished here, and looking forward to getting this all knocked down, cleared out, and getting it to where we can actually start digging holes, setting some posts for building. So I got something else I want to show you. Well, I just got back with this. My friend who had gave me 2 boxes of scrap lumber, which is basically what this is. He works at a place that they make furniture, and this is a box full of maple. So it's just scrap wood that I use, you know, up there in the outdoor kitchen. And you know, I can use it outside here, or I could, matter of fact, I could use it on the inside of the cabin. But it does make good wood for up there at the outdoor kitchen. But this particular box contains a lot of table corners. Okay, that's what this is right here. It also contains a lot of curves, pieces like this, that I thought, you know what, I could actually use that to make a rocker. So some of them are pretty big. Now there are some where you've got 2 pieces that have been put together. That wouldn't be good to use for that. But there are other pieces. This is one solid piece. This is a solid piece. This one is here. This one is, it's a little bit thinner though. But yeah, there's no telling what's down on the inside of this box. But these could be used, like I said, to make some rockers. So we'll just have to see what happens. See, here's another one right here. Some of them, they're different shapes, okay, different curves on them. But there's a lot of good wood in here, and even if I didn't do that, you know, it's enough to last me a good while up there, like I said, at that outdoor kitchen. And it does burn good. It doesn't have, you know, lots of smoke, just basically lots of heat since it's maple, and I could certainly use that. So I've got a big huge stack up there now that I stacked underneath the area that I'm going to make my earthen oven, which I'm hoping that I'll get to that this coming year, because the cabin actually took priority over that. But anyway, I just wanted to show you this because I'm going to have to unload this, but I don't think I'll get to it today, so I'll have to get a tarp and cover it up because I don't want it to get wet. It's full of leaves. Of course, he had it covered up and they're dry, so I'm going to have to do the same thing, hopefully, and keep it dry. Well, I got this cleaned up, and I actually planted some mums that I've had for a couple of weeks, and they're starting to dry up. And so I had heard that if you plant them, they will come back. So I went ahead and stuck them in the ground. I guess we'll see. But I brought some ashes out. I had to clean out the stove earlier, so I brought some of that out and kind of dumped a little bit of it on the dirt there, hoping that that will give it some nutrients. I need to take my little thing and scratch that into the dirt there, but I had just done it a while ago. So, but I'm hoping that this coming year that these flowers will start taking on, and that this will end up being a nice little piece, basically, or area that will look really nice. I've still got to pull the weeds and stuff out of the raised beds, got that left to do, but I was waiting for them to die down as much as possible, and then they will be ready for planting next year. I've been distributing some of the ashes in that, but I think I'm going to also add some potting soil in there next year to that, and hopefully they will do a little bit better. Might be able to take this little fence down here because the dogs haven't really been bothering this. I don't know if, if this was down, they may want to get up there and dig. They do dig from time to time, but normally they're wanting to chase something. So, but anyway, yeah. And my pampas grass, I was concerned about it for a while, but it looks like it took off. So I'm pleased with that. And then my rhododendron is doing well. It's actually got some big bulbs coming up on it, and the part where I had burned the stumps over on the other side, it actually looked like it healed, and there's lots of green on that. So I've actually got one on the other side of the cabin too, but it's just small. It's got one stem, and it's probably, I don't know, maybe the size of that bottom limb right there, and it's got several green leaves on it. So it had kind of fell over, something had fallen on it. It didn't break it, but it kind of bent it out of shape where it was growing pretty much horizontal. I tied it up for about 2 years, and now it seems like it's going to stay there. So if it starts growing, I'll actually have one on this side of the cabin and one on that side of the cabin. So that will be nice. Anyway, but yeah, this turned out looking pretty decent. Like I said, if all those flowers take on, the next year I'll have a really nice area right up here around the kitchen. I actually had a couple of comments recently when this video came out on the handrail for the steps, wanting to know what type of wood did I use that was pink and looked so pretty. I think I mentioned it a couple of times in the video, and I don't know whether some folks are not watching the whole video, but I remember saying it towards the end. I think I said it somewhere in the beginning, but anyway, it is cedar. And another guy commented and said the end of it looked like a couple of good steaks, but yeah, this top one right here, I ripped it in half on the sawmill, and the underside is really pretty, but it wouldn't do right to flip it up and have the flat side on top. So anyway, but yeah, it is cedar. I'm just kind of waiting for it to dry out some because it was green when I cut it, so that I can burn it, and then I'll put some oil on that. And I don't know if you guys recognize it, but let me show you this. This right in here is actually a piece of slab wood that was laid down on my runner and scribed, and then we cut it out. But you can see that from each side, which makes it look a little bit nicer actually when you're coming up the driveway, because it kind of goes with the rest of this. Also had some comments on wanting to know when I was going to finish the rest of the rock. I have got so much to do, but the reason that I hadn't finished, of course, I did the front so that I could get the porch put on, because I wanted to get that front porch put on so that I could use that door. And but it does take a while to lay the stone, and I've always heard that it had to be 40 degrees or higher in order for concrete to set up. So some of these nights have been down into the 30s, and so I wouldn't want to chance the concrete not set, or the mortar not setting up well. So I may have to wait, unless I knew that we were going to have a good week of decent weather. I could probably try to do another side. Some of this may have to wait till next spring. But I've got to figure out what I'm going to do with the door. I could use some of my thinner rock and actually go ahead and put that on the door so that it matched, or I could use some of the slab wood and I could dress that door up that way. Y'all leave me some comments. Let me know what you think might look the best. The wood in between the rock may look okay, but then if it looked like it was solid rock, that would look okay too. But I mean, you would be able to see the door outline. But leave me some comments. Let me know what you think. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do, though, I've got enough wire. I may go ahead and screw that up to where it actually holds this paper, because sometimes the sun causes that to warp like that and try to cause it to shrivel up. So I may go ahead and put that wire up, so then I don't have to worry about that. That wire will hold that paper up, and it'll basically be ready to go whenever I start. So that's something else that I think I'm probably going to go ahead and do. But yeah, everything takes time, and when I did talk to the dozer guy, he said he was going to be free about 6 weeks from when I talked to him, and this is about the 3rd week, so that gives me about 3 weeks left to get the rest of that cleaned up, get those trees down, get them bucked up, and get them out of there where he's, it's basically a clear shot for whenever he gets up here. He doesn't have to stand around waiting on me, because I'd hate to hold up that, because the dozer is expensive. So that's something that I need to be working on, that has taken now more of a priority than some of the other things. The cabin, still a lot to do on the inside, finishing it up with the trim, but I'll just have to work on it when I have the time, or when it's a bad day and I'm not going to come out and take a chance on slipping with the chainsaw or something like that in the mud. So what I will do is work on the inside probably on those extreme nasty days. But I don't lack a whole lot of getting it finished, sanded and painted. That way I can start putting the trim up on the ceiling. And I think another thing too is the flooring. I will probably get the flooring before I start wiping everything down from the top coming down, because with that OSB in there that we're walking on, the little cracks and everything that hold dust, and I have noticed that the dogs, if they get to stirring around in there, it stirs up dust. And so I think if I went ahead and got the floor, then when I start wiping everything down, because there's a lot of dust still up on top of the beams and everything, that it would be easier to clean up on that floor than it would be to try to get it up off of that OSB. So that way I don't create more dust when I get down trying to clean it off of the OSB. And then of course if I did, it just kind of float around, it would land back again. So I think that would be the best thing to do, is go ahead and get my flooring in and then wipe everything down as I'm coming down and get it all cleaned up, and then it should be done. So that's probably something that I'll be looking at in the near future, is starting on that flooring too. And that'd be a good time, because that's inside work and it's getting towards the beginning of winter time, so that would give me something to work on. There's my plane. Give me something to work on during the winter. The only trouble is I've got to move everything, put the flooring down, then move it back. So that is a little bit of a challenge when you're living where you're working. So anyway, I'm going to have to throw this thing again, because he is about to go nuts just standing there. This right here is actually the butt end of a log that came from my sister's house. It's actually a maple, and I cut into it the other day, and because it was twice as long, I basically cut it in half. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this for a little while and see if it'll dry out some more. It's just a little bit damp in some spots, but there's other sections of it that are dry, because I don't want it to split. But I'm going to make end tables with this. I'll probably cut them about 3 inches thick. Then I'll whittle me off some legs, put on there, finish it all up, and dress it up, and then I will have some old-fashioned homemade end tables. And that's the reason that I saved this. And I'd actually put it on my sawmill when I first brought it up here, but the way that it was shaped and laying it, and the end section over there is kind of flared out a little bit more, the sawmill wouldn't pass it on each side. So I'm hoping that by standing this up, I can come through there and saw it this way, and I'll have several sections. So I may make some extra ones, and I may give those to some of the family members. But anyway, yeah, this is a really nice piece, and so far it hasn't cracked or split, and I'm hoping that it will stay like that when I get ready to start making the end tables. Well, guys, appreciate you stopping by up here at the cabin, checking out what we've got going on up here. I'm actually going to have to get back to work, but hopefully that answered a few questions and let you guys see some of the progress that's being made around here. Appreciate you stopping by. Hope that each one of you have a great afternoon. You guys take care. We look forward to seeing you back up here at the cabin again next time.